More to Sasha Banks and Naomi walkout news. Is the brand split over? Question mark. Killer Cross to AEW not confirmed yet. And Stephanie McMahon news and more to come on this new episode. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your bro, Yellow Boy. I'm here for Bros, Brews, and Botches. Trying something new. This is the Shot of Brew, where I'm going to bring you some of the top news from this week in the wrestling world. Hopefully this is something that we can continue to do. Remember, you guys, if you like what you see, hit that like button. Make sure you're putting your notifications on so that you're always in the know of when we're posting something new. Make sure you're following us on social medias. But we're going to get into some of this new stuff. So the first bit of news that we have is about Sasha Banks and Naomi. You know, a week ago, Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out on WWE during Raw. So there were rumors and speculations over when the women walked out from the show. So from Fightful.com, they reported that their sources had repeatedly reported that the two of the women were there at the start of the show, but then they walked out near the beginning as the parties couldn't come to an agreement with creative. Also, Vince was not going to change his stance, and both women have been removed noticeably from the WWE shop page and from their Facebook accounts. The pair has also gone dark on their social medias. Now, while it's been speculated that there have been no plans for both ladies, it's actually been seen on social media that Sasha Banks has been posting or had a post from her cousin Snoop D-O-double-G for some NFTs. However, there's been nothing else that's been speculated. Moving over to other WWE news, is the brand split over? Question mark. Well, Brian Alvarez from the Wrestling Observer Radio speculates that and reports that maybe so. Now, while nothing has been made official, it would seem that the brand split is coming to a close on the main roster. As you've seen in the past few weeks, if you're watching SmackDown or Raw, you've noticed that some of the superstars have been trading back and forth. Again, nothing has been official, but this is similar to the brand split that occurred in 2006, the original brand split, 2002, that lasted 6 years. The last brand split occurred this go around in 2016, and it looks like it's coming to a close right now with superstars trading from Raw to SmackDown at a whim. So, more news on that as it continues. Also, in AEW news, was Killer Cross supposed to be moving over to AEW brand? Well, during the May 4th episode of AEW Dynamite, we had seen Wardlow go one-on-one with the surprise debut of W. Morrissey, who was the former Big Cass in WWE. It was reported by Fightful.com that Killer Cross, the former Karrion Kross in WWE, was supposed to be in that actual spot. Unfortunately, Killer Cross couldn't come to an agreement with AEW on his debut because he wanted to have similar presentation to his NXT run with his wife, Scarlett Bordeaux. The presentation with the music and such, he wanted something similar to that, so they weren't able to come to an agreement. However, they did come to an amicable disagreement, so there still may be room for a Killer Cross debut in AEW down the road, so we'll continue to look for that. Next up, back to you, some WWE news in regards to Stephanie McMahon. It was reported last week that Stephanie McMahon was stepping away from her position, and that Nick Khan, who is ultimately taking over everything in WWE seemingly, is going to be taking up her duties. Now, while there hadn't been much that was reporting on the reasoning behind why she was leaving, it was reported that she was stepping away to focus on her family and deal with family issues. We know that Triple H had dealt with his heart incident last fall and has just recently made a return to television on NXT the last pay-per-view or premium live event with NXT. However, there's going to be a focus on family. However, speculation is that there's more to that story than just what's on the surface. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of reports on what that is, and we may never know what that is. And because it's a McMahon, that may not be privy to our eyes and ears. However, there is more to the story, so maybe more will be leaked out to come. Sticking with WWE news, is The Rock going to be at Mania? Well, again, Brian Alvarez from Wrestling Observer Radio had noted that Dwayne The Rock Johnson has not had any movie commitments booked for the first quarter of 2023, which that first quarter includes the month of April, which is when WrestleMania 39 will be presented. So there is a long-standing speculation and rumor mill that the main event has been for the longest wanted to be Roman Reigns versus The Rock, and they have been slightly building with that, with Paul Heyman making reference to The Rock in a previous social media post from this, I believe it was this week. So it may look like that The Rock and Roman Reigns will have their match at WrestleMania due to that. Speculation is that there could be possibly The Rock at SummerSlam, but I think it's more or less the build is going to be a little later. However, that's my speculation. That hasn't been reported. So we shall see in the weeks to come what's going to be of The Rock and his cousin Roman Reigns. Sticking with WWE news, is bad ticket sales causing a venue change? It was reported this week that WWE's Money in the Bank was scheduled for this July to occur at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, which holds a max capacity of about 65,000. However, WWE announced that their premium live event, Money in the Bank, will now take place at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. This venue only holds about a capacity of 17,000, and it's been speculated that it's because of low ticket sales for this event is why the venue changed. Money in the Bank is scheduled for July the 2nd, while SummerSlam is scheduled for July 30th. That may have something to do with the amount of ticket sales, but they have gone to a lower capacity venue. This will make, if they sell out in the MGM Grand, it would make where Cody Rhodes is featured on two pay-per-views for two different companies and sell out the same arena. So we'll see how that looks when we get to July. Segueing over from Cody Rhodes to AEW, did New Japan invade AEW on this past week's Go Home Dynamite for Double or Nothing? Maybe. We seen that this past Wednesday on May 25th, the AEW Dynamite show, there was a Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship match between FTR and Roppongi Vice, which was interrupted and thrown out due to interference by New Japan Pro Wrestling's United Empire. That consists of Jeff Cobb and the Great Okan, which they jumped the ring, beat up both FTR and Roppongi Vice. Now this may be the beginning of the angle for the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, which occurs next month. So in the weeks to come, we may be able to see more defection from New Japan Wrestling, whether it be New Japan or New Japan Strong, which is here in America. But this may be the way that they can start getting the card put together. Keeping it with AEW, on the Go Home episode of AEW Rampage, Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky revealed Scorpio Sky's new TNT customized belt. We've seen the customization before with Miro having the Bulgarian belt. This time with Scorpio Sky, he had a Los Angeles Lakers inspired belt, which is Scorpio Sky's favorite basketball team, and with side plates that included the numbers 8 and 24 for Kobe Bryant. It was also announced during this show that there was a mixed tag match for the Double or Nothing pay-per-view on Sunday, May 29th, which it will have Men of the Year, again, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, with Paige Van Zandt making her debut for AEW and wrestling debut against Sammy Guevara, Frankie Kazarian, and Ty Conti. Don't know where they're going to place this on the card. The card is already stacked, but we'll see if it either goes on the buy-in, which is the pre-show, or if it's going to be added to the already 4-hour show, which again, that should be no surprise to you who watch AEW, because AEW shows go about 4 hours. So that brings us finally to the last bit of news here on this shot of brews, or shot of news, which the bros here at Bros, Brews, and Botches want to give a congratulations to Charlotte, Flair, and Andrade, which we've seen some social media posts this week that show that Charlotte and Andrade got married. This is after they announced their engagement about a year or so ago, and due to the pandemic, it was kind of held up from them being able to get married. Well, there's been photos that have kind of littered the internet with Charlotte and Andrade getting married in Ciudad Lerdo, Durango, Mexico. Hopefully I said that correctly for the Spanish-speaking people. This could be why Charlotte Flair was written off of television. So noteworthy people that we've seen in some of these photos included Finn Balor, Apollo Crews, and Lena Fanene, which is the former Nia Jax. And that'll do it for the news. Remember guys, if you enjoy this, make sure you're giving us a like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you're sharing this. This is the first of hopefully many of these news segments that we'll try to have on the weekend. Remember guys to follow us on social media. If you haven't watched any of the 60-second sips, make sure you're checking out those 60-second sips to get all of your beer info. If you have any suggestions for a beer review, make sure you're putting them in the comments of the 60-second sips. There is a watch list, or a list that you can watch with all the Bros, Brews, and Botches 60-second sips with Over Here Boy to get some of your beer review knowledge. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of you. Make sure again that you're following, sharing, and keeping up with the bros, and we will see you soon.